Hey people, Mike Martins here with the Mike Martins channel. Thanks for joining, liking, and subscribing. Okay, guys, I believe, and I wholeheartedly believe, and I wouldn't throw this bold claim out there or prediction or whatever you want to call it. I believe there will not be another election in Canada at the federal level. Federal elections are slated for, I think it's October 2025 in Canada. Now, I believe that there will not be an election anymore in Canada. I think they're going to find a way to dissolve it by then, at the rate we're going now. And why? Well, I'm the same guy that told you they're going to pull the trigger on the you know what back in 2019. I was the guy that told you that they're going to have to raise interest rates to 9-10% by 2022. That's what the video says. There's multiple things I could throw out there. The Liberal government will call a snap election in the middle of a pandemic and win, and they did. So there's a lot that's pushing me towards this precipice, and I don't want to be right about this, but I believe that there's going to be a huge dissolution, or it will dissolve. They're going to find a way that the country gets ruled not by who the people want, because it never has been in a while. Look at all the selections. Macron, what's that guy there in Victoria? Dan Andrews. Over in Canada, the snap election with Trudeau, and they can't 400 or something thousand uncounted mail-in votes weren't counted. One after another. The selection in the United States with Biden, one after another. The selection in Brazil, and we call that 5 weeks before they counted the first ballot. I already told you guys. Why? Because of accountability. Nobody wants to be accountable for the disaster they've put us through in the last 12 going into 13 years. They don't want to take accountability. And if there isn't an opposition that takes the reins, or a new fresh government that's going to take the next 4 or 5 years, and they switch back and forth like they always do. Oh, we don't trust you guys, and then the other guys come in. That's not going to happen anymore, because they're going to dissolve it in a way where there's just going to be no elections anymore at the federal, like maybe at municipal levels you'll see things. But I just have this feeling, because of the incredible amount of accountability that needs to be handed, unless they start, unless they can find a fall country, a fall country that will make a lot of sense, to blame everything on, right? And we were on Mike in the Night the other day. We were discussing the deposition with one of the famous doctors, and how now he's starting to blame that China pushed him or coerced him to do the lockdowns in America, right? And I just don't want to get my channel flagged, right? So I want to let you guys know, I believe, because accountability is big, right? Now, if you start looking at accountability and start following the money, and we made multiple follow the money videos. We made multiple. And if you follow the money, everything ties back to criminal activity, money laundering, fentanyl, drug sales, all kinds of stuff, right? So once you start following the money, you start getting your answers. Now, instead of raising interest rates in 2018, 2019, and 2020 to correct the housing crisis that was in Canada, instead of giving fentanyl and opioids to all the youth in Canada and let them die off and bring in others to take their place, type of thing. That's how I've been feeling for the longest time. That's been happening to the Canadian people. How they've, and European expansion, come here, built these cities, and then now they're not wanted here anymore, right? So no one's going to take accountability. It all leads back again to money laundering. You're probably going to, again with this, Mike, you made 1,000 videos about money laundering. And that's why once you start taking into accountability and affordability, and you start looking at how the middle class was completely disenfranchised, and if people actually took 5 steps back and looked at an entire flowchart of how this thing went through and built it up, and how it's been built up, and how it's been everything's been working against them. And I'm saying the last 12 years, it's been really against us. Hardcore, big time, the last 3 years. Because there's no one to take accountability. All they had to do in 2019, I'll be honest with you, is just raise interest rates. The whole world was in protest in 2019, and we did this on Mike of the Night. We can't even find a country that we found 5 countries that were not protesting in 2019. Everybody was protesting in 2019 with no confidence in governments. And then after they started saying it was climate change, go back to the Mike and the Nights from 2019. Go back to the Mike and the Nights that we did. Some of them are still on YouTube, and you'll find them. They're on Odyssey. Most of them are preserved on Odyssey now. But you'll find Mike and the Nights, and you'll find what was going on in that time. The worldwide protests, right? And this is becoming a major issue. And I believe we're not going to have in 2025, come October, I just don't feel they're going to allow us to have an election because the accountability is so great. Unless the next party comes in and says, okay, you can't investigate nobody though. We'll let you in, or we'll let you win this next election fair and square. But you can't investigate nobody. That's the clause. They'll probably have to sign something, and that'll be high treason against the people. Look what's happened with the whole Emergencies Act, and then now they want to take the guns away from legal gun owners from Canada. Why? Why do they want to do this? Because of accountability. Accountability is so powerful right now. And if the actual Canadian the actual person living in Canada sat down and looked at how much these politicians and all these people sold us out to the highest bidder, you wouldn't believe it. You'd be like, there's no way they could have sold us out. We've been in an economic war. We've been in an economic takeover. We've been in everything. And this is something I've been talking about for a long time now. And you could scroll through the history of the channel. You can't go to the oldest videos anymore. They don't allow you to look at a channel's oldest videos. They won't allow that. But I have a feeling it's going to be very turbulent all over the world. But Canada, we got a problem. We got cold weather. We got really cold weather. A few months, sometimes 3 months, 4 or 5, depending on what they sprayed in our ionospheres and what's happened. I don't know anymore. But all I'm saying, guys, and I've been saying this, we are 17 weeks out prepper window. We've been talking about the prepper window on this channel. We've been counting down the weeks on Mike of the Night. 17 weeks to go that we got to bear through this and kind of hopefully see a light come spring, and hopefully there's some sort of I don't know, hopefully something changes for the best. I don't know what to say anymore, but I do believe that October 2025 they're going to find a way, or some emergency, or something's going to happen, or they're going to pull the trigger on something else, or they're going to fake a first contact, or a meteor shower, or a meteor hits Earth, or something. Because once the public or the general public wants answers, it's going to be a big problem. And these guys now in power, at least back in the day, they took accountability, they screwed up, and they took their punishment. Nowadays, man, they'll lie to you and lie to you and lie to you. And that's why I believe there won't be an election in 2025, a federal election, or they won't even allow it, because bigger countries or bigger powers won't allow it. Because once one country falls, right? Look up the Fauci deposition, right? Look up what I'm talking about. Then you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll understand what it is that's happening here, right? Or look at the last episode of Mike of the Night, right? So let me know what you guys think. There's just too much accountability on the table, and I think it'll be like a John F. Kennedy thing. What's going to happen is they're going to wait for anybody that had a pulse back in 1963 to pass away, and then maybe they'll tell us the truth, right? Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Look forward to reading your comments. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.